So we begin today's Star Wars news update with something you might consider rather sad. Imagine in an alternate reality, it's the weekend of December 22nd, 2023, and you can't wait to go to the cinema with your friends and your family to go and see the first Star Wars movie in 4 years. The most recent cinematic Star Wars experience you have is The Rise of Skywalker, and now you're curious to see the unveiling of a new dawn for Star Wars on the big screen. In your head, the trailers and TV spots that have been making the rounds over the last couple of months. And you think back to 2020, when Kathleen Kennedy first announced this project during Disney Investor Day. Well, that Star Wars film Rogue Squadron should have existed this very weekend. That's come around so quickly. And the reality is very simple. It never got made. There were creative differences, disputes between Patty Jenkins and Lucasfilm, and the movie was shelved. And even though Kathleen Kennedy said at Star Wars Celebration they might integrate some of the ideas from this movie into a future project, maybe the 2026 film, realistically, it's never going to see the light of day. But a popular tweet from 3 years ago has resurfaced. This tweet on X dates back to December 11th of 2020, when we were all watching The Mandalorian Season 2. Star Wars Rogue Squadron will release on December 22nd, 2023. And considering that date passed a couple of days ago, Star Wars fans have been having fun with the poorly aged tweet, and ironically poking fun at the way Lucasfilms handled its movies, or lack thereof. Just having a laugh, making up plots, pretending they went to see it, or are queuing to go see it, and it's just been really funny to watch. But talk about tweets that age like milk. And you can't help but wonder, did we dodge a bullet with what this movie was going to be? Or did we miss out on something that could have been pretty damn awesome? The honest answer is we'll never know the truth. Although there have been rumours that it was going to be inspired by video games and novels, we don't know too much about the substance of the film. There were reports about Wedge Antilles, Poe Dameron, and the post-Rise of Skywalker world as well. And if Kathleen Kennedy is telling the truth, that they still want to use plot threads from this, then for all we know, they're going to be merged as part of an X-Wing subplot in the Obaid-Chinoy, Rey Skywalker's Jedi Academy film. And you know, because it's the holiday season, because it's good to have a sense of humour this time of year, I want to share with you a couple of my personal favourite Rogue Squadron mock reviews. Blew my mind that Watto finally left that heap drunk on Tatooine and became a New Republic Ranger. Could you imagine? Oh, and by the way, we never hear about Watto anymore. The next one is, just got out of the theatre. Found it a little weird that Princess Leia sang at the end. A 4-armed silver woman taught you back how to cook bantha, and Bail Arthur flirted with an 8-foot rat. Oh wait, that's the Star Wars holiday special. Just got out of the theatre and I can't believe the X-Wing was also a Palpatine. I was also very surprised by this. And for anyone interested, here was my Rogue Squadron review. It was great to see Jar Jar Binks finally find his true calling as a musical legend, but I don't think Grogu should have grown that mullet. 9 out of 10 nonetheless. And the last few years have been quite a rough journey for Star Wars films. Lucasfilm have struggled with getting Star Wars movies off the ground. So many cancelled projects. But you don't need me to be a broken record, we've covered this in depth. But what I will say with great optimism is we're nearly at the end of the tunnel. There is a light. I can see it. The next Star Wars movie officially goes into production in 2024. So we're almost at the end of this very dry and bleak period for Star Wars movie updates. And as I say, in another galaxy, in another timeline, right this very second, you wouldn't be watching me talk about what could have been, you'd see me do a breakdown of everything I loved, everything I didn't like in the film, in a similar way we do for the Disney Plus shows. But with the next Star Wars cinematic venture only a couple of years away, it's not going to be long until you hear me talk about Star Wars movies again, and not just in the context of my thoughts on them, but in 2024, there are going to be lots of Star Wars movie updates, I can just feel it. Search your feelings, my dear friends, you know it to be true. I guess what's really sad about this is how Patty Jenkins enthusiastically marketed this film as a boundary-pushing high-speed thrill ride for Star Wars fans that was going to launch Star Wars into the future era of the galaxy. I suppose now, that task lies with Obaid-Chinoy. In addition, Star Wars fans were so incredibly enthused that the movie's title was borrowing from a sub-series of games and books. And while it was certainly going to tell its own original story, this was said to be a welcome distraction from the sequels. Even if they took place in the same era, we were not promised a Rey film. But lo and behold, in 2021, all of the pieces for the soon-to-be Top Gun but Star Wars began to fall apart. And here we are. The release date has come and gone. But moving on to some more positive Star Wars news, something really exciting. Do you guys remember a few months ago, I spoke about the possibility of a Star Wars Mandalorian video game? Well now, according to another rumor, in 2025, we might actually finally be getting one, exclusive for Xbox. As you guys know, the Knights of the Old Republic remake was going to be exclusive to PlayStation, exclusive to Sony. Well now, it's Xbox's turn. They're gonna try and draw in Star Wars fans for an Xbox exclusive, id Software developed game that focuses on the New Republic, and specifically Mando. While this is just a rumor for now, the idea is certainly interesting. Earlier this very year, an EA concept artist released a really awesome idea for a Mandalorian themed game in the form of stunning concepts. If id Software decides to develop a Mando game, they're going to be using their in-house id Tech 8 engine. Combining this with the rich universe of the Star Wars galaxy could lead to some splendid and magnificent results. This could be the next huge Star Wars game, given the popularity of the show. Now, to give you a full sense of the scope of this scoop, oh my goodness, that is a lot of S's, this leaker goes on to say this: they don't fully trust it is confirmed, but they mention in the post several users have speculated about the possibility of a licensed game, and they're gonna keep us tuned in on the latest, so we will keep an eye on this. And so now, my dear friends, we've been talking quite a bit about the Ahsoka show, and I've gone through quite a lot of behind the scenes pictures and videos shared by Amanis Fundy, Rosario Dawson, and various other members of the cast since the strikes ended. And while the Ahsoka show is now well behind us, one very talented actress keeping the conversation going is Ariana Greenblatt, young Ahsoka from the Clone Wars Flashbacks. In a new picture that she shared to X.com, we see her next to Dave Filoni with the caption, "Some leaders' strength is inspiring others," a very famous quote from the Clone Wars, Ashley Eckstein voicing Ahsoka Tano. But there's a really important reason we need to pay attention to this. Because in the same way fans were so happy to see the return of Hayden after all these years, his love and passion and understanding for Star Wars expanded on set, mainly in the early 2000s, being mentored by George. In a similar way, if Ariana's gonna have a long career in the galaxy far, far away, and appear in multiple projects over the years, it's moments where she's being mentored by Dave on set that she's gonna remember. He's instilling wisdom, the essence of Star Wars in the same way George did with him, and with Hayden, with Ewan, Ian McDiarmid, and so on. So while at first glance, it looks like young Ahsoka just being directed by Dave, it's a moment of connection with a character. Awesome stuff. So with that said, my dear friends, share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.